Three, two, one, go.
Hi, I'm Brian Haas, and today I want to answer the question, is the new ASTRO C40 gaming controller the best PS4 controller ever? And honestly, if we're talking about the PS4 controller, that probably puts the ASTRO somewhere in the category of potentially the best controller ever, which is pretty crazy. So to answer that question, I'm going to talk about this controller. If you haven't already seen it, I made a video about unboxing the launch kit, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about what's included in the accessories, though I might get a little distracted, because that can happen. Anyway, here is the C40 gaming controller, Astro's new product, developed with, I'm sure, the backing of Logitech. They put 2 years into heavy development, and this is the output. I first got hands-on with this controller at PAX South. I was really impressed playing Black Ops. I just love, it's just you put your hands on it and you feel the controller, you feel the build quality, you feel how the sticks feel, and you feel the ergonomics. You know a lot about it already. So to be honest, when I actually got hold of my own controller, I had high expectations and I did not think the controller would meet it, so it was really surprising. For one thing, again, the finish on this, it's got to be one of the best designs, the best finished designs at any price point of any product in the entire world. It's packed full of details, it's packed full of features. Really nothing has been overlooked from a design standpoint, from a ergonomic standpoint, from a user experience standpoint. Astro and Logitech, they've covered just all the bases. This controller here has a different faceplate accessory. I've swapped the modules to make it a Xbox style, and I've added the taller convex stick just to try it out and give it a different feel. And honestly, the results are great. If there's anything that I dislike about this particular configuration that I've set up, it's probably that when I was playing Street Fighter, Ultra Street Fighter 4, is I kind of felt like I think I want the D-pad up here just so it's closer to these shoulder buttons. But speaking of Ultra Street Fighter 4, that's a great point of one of the features that's easy enough for me to forget, and it's the trigger stops on the back of the controller. When you're playing a fighting game, you don't want that long, you don't necessarily want the long pull of the trigger. You engage the trigger stop, and you have now you have a button here, a useful button. But I mean, the feel of it, you cannot deny. The feel of the face buttons, again, just destroys anything else that I've used. Likewise, the analog sticks are wonderful, and the sensitivity is modifiable via the app on the PC. The D-pad, like I said, Ultra Street Fighter, Super Meat Boy, N++, Shovel Knight, it just... I thought that the D-pad was just going to be kind of like, here's what you control your items with in a first-person shooter. No way. The D-pad has clearly received a lot of focus and is a fairly amazing piece of technology on its own. There's so many details in this controller. Like, it just impressed me, the fact that the share button on the PS4, when I was using on the PC, instantly became the menu button rather than having to use the touchpad. I love that. Again, that's just the default. And of course, using it with the PC was as easy as plugging in the receiver. I use this controller. I was just playing tons and tons of The Division with this controller. I was impressed with the 2 buttons. It's almost as though this controller were designed for me. It doesn't have 4 buttons. It has 2 very useful, awesome buttons that are easy to remap using PC software. You can actually remap it all on its own using this little button down here. Exactly what I want. I can remap L3 and R3 and just go. But at the same time, unlike the awesome Xbox One Elite controller, you don't have the problem of pieces kind of just coming off the controller. You're not going to be accidentally taking off any of the analog sticks the way that the magnets are on the Xbox One, because they very firmly snap off and very firmly snap on. At the same time, to actually switch the modules, you're going to need the little tool that comes in the case, and they want you to go in a star pattern to undo the faceplate, and then you can swap the modules around. What's really great about this is that For me, getting to use this controller, owning this controller, looking at this controller, the build quality is stellar. Now, people have asked me, well, how do you improve upon the DS4? Well, anybody who's probably used the DS4 a lot knows that it has two critical flaws: battery life and build quality. And even though this is actually the one that came with the PS4 Pro, the slight revision, even with that, it doesn't have melty analog sticks, but even the build quality here is lacking. And since before the Xbox One Elite controller came out, I've been looking and wanting a better, more premium, better experience with my PS4 controller, and really just was kind of ready to give up. I haven't enjoyed scuff products. They don't suit me. I haven't enjoyed some of the other third-party offerings that have happened. Finally, we've got something licensed by PlayStation and built by Astro and Logitech that actually knows what it wants to be and is completely focused. You notice there's no screwy lights on here. There's one light here that gives you power and connection, etc. That's it. One of the worst things about the Xbox One Elite controller is you're still stuck with the fact of the analog sticks taking attrition, wearing down. With this C40 Astro controller, these little modules can just be replaced. In fact, as you can see, I have the tool that's included with the controller in the controller case. Got the controller right here, so I can show you. Now, as I noted in my unboxing video, another of the important details on this controller is the 4 screws in the faceplate that are used to secure the faceplate and the modules, the analog and D-pad modules to the controller, have their own little retaining washer, so they're not going anywhere. But yeah, this is an analog stick module. It just slides right into the controller. You align the red line and it slides right in. Since Astro plans to offer replacement modules, in theory, this is the most user-serviceable controller I have ever seen. It basically is easier than replacing buttons in a fight stick, or roughly right up there. And likewise, swapping modules is that easy. All I have to do is put the faceplate back on. That's something definitely to note. It's a pro and a con that the 2.4 gigahertz transmitter is required regardless of what you're using it on. It's been a real advantage for me because I'm able to move between my PS4 Pro and my PS4, which are in different rooms, just by moving this back and forth. And same thing with the PC, so I'm never accidentally turning on my PS4 or connecting or whatever. That probably is the controller's biggest con at the same time, is that even though it's licensed by PlayStation as a third-party accessory controller, it's not been enabled to turn on the PC wirelessly. So in order to do that, you either need to have a DualShock 4, or in my case, actually use these P2P remotes. It's easy enough to turn on the PS4 with the remote, certainly easier than getting up and pressing a button, and then immediately start using the C40 and never have to worry about using a DualShock 4 if I don't want to. If there's one real annoyance for me in terms of that, is that when I turn my PS4 or PS4 Pro off, I still need to try to remember to actually turn the controller off, though I think it will actually time out and power save. So it's not a real problem, but it does kind of bother me that once or twice I've been, oh, I forgot to turn off the controller, and I don't know how long it was on for after that. Other features to know about the controller: it supports a wired and a wireless mode, comes with its own 3-meter cable that has a special micro USB shape that fits into here. You switch between wired and wireless mode using this switch. You switch between profile 1 and 2. For example, on this controller, I actually have it set up so that profile 2 has my L3 and R3 setups, and profile 1 has nothing set up for those buttons. So if I ever feel like turning them off for some reason, I could do that. It actually hasn't ever happened. These buttons are just, I cannot complain about them. Anything else to notice about it? I don't know, the touchpad is unobtrusive. The controller itself, like an Astro product, just packed full of little details, little text here and here and here, and I don't know, the rubberized grip is wonderful. You can't tell how well it's going to age. It seems like it would be great, but at least I know that the analog modules, and specifically should be pretty easy to replace if for any reason I ever want to. And the same thing, there's a whole boatload of accessories I will talk about in another video. What comes in the controller already: the tool, the USB transmitter, the micro USB cable, the convex, concave sticks of different heights. It's a wonderful way to get into the controller and start learning what it's about, and frankly probably get it set up the way that you want to use most of the time. But again, I admit that I'm kind of enjoying the Xbox style analog setup, but when playing a fighting game, I think I want the D-pad just right closer to these shoulder buttons. As this being an Astro product, I mean, there's a headphone jack down here that has not been overlooked and is actually configurable via the software on PC. So that's just another thing to think about. It's not like they think you're just going to have an A50 or an A30 with you at the same time. You can go ahead and plug your A40 in here if you want, or your A10. So the ASTRO C40 has incredible build quality, incredible finish, modular capability to give you the setup you want, and it also it seems to be user serviceable, which is just amazing. And getting back to the question, is this the best PS4 controller ever made? Yeah, it's not even, in my mind, it's not even close. I mean, in gaming right now, we're always looking to kind of tweak our experience or get a big upgrade. That's what this is about to me. It's about, I've been using a DS4 for so many years. I wanted something better. I knew that something better should exist. And finally, a company has had the wherewithal to make something better, and it's basically flawless. It has no drawbacks the way that the Elite controller had a few drawbacks. This is obviously a more refined package. The price point reflects that, but considering the fact that it works flawlessly with the PS4 and with the PC, it seems like a great investment for my money. I'm Brian Haas, and this is my new favorite controller anywhere, anytime, and yet I still feel like I'm getting to know it, getting to know how to get a little bit more and a little bit more out of it, and that's probably why I really love it. Is it's all positive, and there's just no drawbacks to using it. I'm never like, oh, I wish it had this, oh, I wish it had that. It has everything I could ever want, and no fluff. So I hope this has answered the question, is this the best PS4 controller ever? Which, like I said, means probably we're looking at one of the best controllers ever made, ever produced, ever been available. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Peace.